the situation in comparison to 3 years ago when I arrived in Skopje, North Macedonia, is to some extent similar, because in those days we had a technical government like today, but I guess the circumstances are quite different. And the personal viewpoint, my professional viewpoint, is always related to the economic situation. And here we had a situation where we had a lot of new German companies 3 years ago, or these companies did investment within the past, let's say, 10 years, and they have consolidated and they have even continued to invest. They have increased, and some new investors came into the country, and so we have an interesting way of consolidation and continuation of new investments. And of course the number of employees has significantly also increased by those who came in, and now we can see that we have roughly 20,000 employees employed by German employers here in the country. And of course the focus of those who came in first was on more labor-intensive production, and this is now a way that it caused also change of the labor market here in North Macedonia. The labor market, I guess, has become more of a challenge for the employers than for the employees, because when you are searching for a job, you find, I would say, easily a job in North Macedonia. And there's always this cliche about the foreign investors came in just because of the cheap labor, and civil rights movement saying, oh, this is all exploitation. But you have to consider that at the beginning there was the collapse of the industry after the collapse of the former Yugoslavian state, and the foreign direct investments came after a period of time when there was nothing and many people were redundant. And so it was a new social transformation and also cultural change. And with these new investments, also new standards came in. Yeah, I know you would like to hear about what the changes in terms of cultural change and standards are. Yes, you have labor safety, labor standards, and these new investments are having the same standards here in Macedonia, these companies, in terms of productivity and production, than they would have in other countries. Especially, security and quality standards are the same. The German companies are still rising here in North Macedonia because the environment for doing business is quite good. And we always have some challenges. As I just said, the labor market is becoming more a challenge for companies. And so we are concerned about the availability and employability. And that made a lot of investors change their focus also on train and to educate their staff members. And with our activities of our office, we are coordinating their activities, and we put these activities into the formalized framework. And we have companies like Drechselmeier or EVN who were already doing vocational training on their own before. And EVN had an agreement also with the Ministry of Labor, which worked out very well. And now we have moved in and said, okay, we want to do a 4-year training, dual vocational training. And this is a public-private partnership between the government, the schools, and the private sector. And we do train machinisten and mechatronics. So these are highly specialized professions. And this is done during high school time, so 50% of the time at high school is undertaken within the companies, and they have specialized trainers there. And so the companies are taking care about these young professionals, and this enables them for a future professional career in industry, in terms of they will be entitled or for doing jobs as a mechatronic technician, and so they will have a lot of opportunities in their professional life. So that is one of these activities the German companies are doing, and we have more companies coming in, and they are of course taking it as a corporate social responsibility to invest into their labor. In general, I think education is always good. Lifetime learning, that's always what we say. And there are a lot of academies and private universities, and I guess it's very difficult these days to figure out what the right one is, and whether some of these academies are just nice ways of making profits for the owner of this academy. But this one, I guess, is something which is having a partner in Germany and having certain standards and trying to fulfill these international criteria, and I think that's very good. Yeah, so the academic or lifetime learning, further education, topping up or complementing academic learning, it's a fine idea. It's a good idea, and so it's good to build up capacity. As I just said, it's good to have complementary further education, and this being linked to international standards, having a kind of transparency also when you do examines based upon mediocrity and merits, and so that's always good. So and having a real proper standard form of examines, and so that there's transparency, and the results are based on really the outcome and performance. I think that's quite of importance. We do cooperate with ABIT in terms of they are a member of our business association, but talking about the vocational training, we do cooperate with the high schools. Yeah, it's a public-private partnership, so we need for vocational training, dual vocational training, we need the legal framework of the Ministry of Education. So they provide us the opportunity to amend the curricula, adding what the companies are in need for, so that we have a kind of education system which is preparing the young generation for the labor market. I guess the challenge we have here, but also in Germany, is the focus is too much on universities. And the historic background in Germany is not focused on universities at all. 80–90% of all Germans have undertaken the vocational training in the past, and that made us very successful. And now we have a shift through the Bologna process that everyone enters universities and is doing a degree in whatever, which is not needed by the labor market, and that essential qualifications for the industries are not made, or these graduates are not coming anymore. And this is a lack of employability, which is created by the rising amount and quantity of universities. And I think, to be honest, a country like North Macedonia with less than 2 million people, 2 universities, I think would be good enough, would be sufficient. Yeah. But what you need is an alternative and a good way of dual vocational training. And here, this is a challenge for all modern societies, having the mismatch of what we want and what is really being needed, and still also fulfilling the wish of the parents to create the best for their children. And so the children have to satisfy also the wishes of the parents to make a big career and to be financially independent and to have a university degree. But our vocational training also enables them, after graduating from vocational training, having the certificate, to enter universities. But then they have the advantage of already being socialized in a company, and they know what companies are doing. We have a lot of misled people who have no ideas how these modern companies and industry in the countries, what they are doing, and they are just saying, oh, they are badly poor paid, but they are not. And they have different job opportunities within the company. And yes, if you have a low level of qualifications, you're getting less paid. And if the work you're doing is only manual, you are not so much paid as maybe an electrical engineer. It's based upon the demand of the employer and what you can offer. But again, also those with less skills are getting interesting packages here, and the cost of labor is less here in comparison to Germany, but also the costs of living are cheaper. When you make maybe 1 more as a salary in Germany, you have also extremely high expenditures on your living expenditures in Germany, in cities. And that is what people here underestimate. Yeah? And I see a lot of people graduating from universities in whatever major, and then they are getting holiday jobs at McDonald's. So what is the purpose?